Welcome to this evening's Board of Education meeting. Before we begin, I'd like to share with the audience that if you need Spanish translation services, we have Lupita here to assist.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Si necesita servicios de interpretación, me avisa, por favor.
Thank you, Lupita. On behalf of the board, we'd like to share a reminder regarding the process for public comments during board meetings. For each agendized action, discussion, or information-only item, the board will hear a presentation from the staff, provide an opportunity for public comment, then hold a board discussion and vote if necessary. Public comment on non-agendized items will be heard during item 5, and public comment on closed session items will be heard during item 8 before adjourning into closed session. To help us organize the public comment using this system, if you wish to provide public comment, please complete a speaker card located at the entrance to the meeting room and provide it to the executive assistant, Michelle, sitting next to Sharon. Speaker cards for public comment will be accepted prior to the calling for the public comment portion of the agenda item. I call this meeting to order at 5:32 p.m. and note for the record, Board Clerk Seabury Nachbar will be participating tonight from a remote location, Stroud Island, Marshville Road, Harrington, Maine, 04643. I would like to now establish a quorum by roll call vote.
Board President Jason Remenzi,
Yes.
Board Clerk Seabury Nachbar,
Yes.
Oh.
Board Member Sarah Hines,
Yes.
Board Member Anne Marie Rosen,
Yes.
Board Member Carl Palestrini.
Present.
May I receive a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Board President Jason Remenzi,
Yes.
Board Clerk Seabury Nachbar,
Yes.
Board Member Sarah Hines,
Yes.
Board Member Anne Marie Rosen,
Yes.
Board Member Carl Palestrini.
Yes.
I notify the audience that open session will be audio taped, broadcast, and recorded for the district's YouTube channel. I'd like to ask Carl to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Starting with agenda item 2, the superintendent report. These are routine status updates regarding campus activities, meeting schedules, conferences, and meetings attended, and recent developments from Superintendent Sharon Ofek.
All right, good evening. It is summertime, and I hope everybody is having an enjoyable time at home with their families, enjoying some downtime and some playtime with each other while we don't have the pressures of school and routines, typical and ordinary routines during the school year. So I hope our families are enjoying this time right now. At the district office, we have been working. It's part of the different cycles of the school year. So the district office doesn't shut down in the summertime, much to people's surprise, and we get geared up and ready to go for the school year. So this week we welcomed back our site administrators, had a retreat to start the year off, and we are doing the same later this week with all of our site administrative assistants and department administrative assistants, etc. So we are ready to roll, and we are working with our staff as they return. Next week, all of our staff, teachers and support staff return, and we will have our welcome back breakfast and professional learning day, which we've been working on coordinating and organizing. So we've been busy at work this summer. I did have an opportunity to go out and visit some of our summer programs, and just last week I heard about a really cool field trip that our kids out in Kashawa were going on to a farm that was started by a community member out in Kashawa, and I drove all the way out there and found the right place, and it turns out that I was about 50 yards away, but I had to cross a river a couple times and then walk a few extra feet to get to this farm, which I didn't realize because it wasn't very clearly delineated for me. So I drove all the way out there and made the effort, but didn't ever get to see them actually at the farm. But they did send me photos and had a fantastic time, and I was able to check in. But that was a really unique experience, and a lot of the kids who have grown up in Kashawa didn't even know that farm existed. So it was a new experience for everybody, and I'm grateful to to the community member. It's actually called Bhakti Farms, and who invited us to have that experience of petting cows, feeding cows, milking cows, making ice cream from the milk, all that kind of stuff. So really unique opportunity for them. And then we went, Anne-Marie Rosen and I went out to the pool and saw the kids with their swim lessons earlier this week. So we've had some fun times trying to support our students and our families. And ironically enough, they come to a close this Friday, which seems super fast. And we're moving in the direction of gearing up again for like I said earlier, the routine of the school year. And I think that's it for tonight.
Thank you, Sharon. Agenda item 3, consent calendar. The board may bundle a number of items and act upon them together in one motion through the use of a consent calendar. Consent agenda items are routine items deemed to be non-controversial for which board discussion is not anticipated and for which the superintendent recommends approval. There will be no discussion of these items prior to a vote unless any member or members of the board request specific items to be removed from for a discussion. The board did not receive any public comment requests, so may I receive a motion to adopt the consent calendar?
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent calendar.
I'll second that.
Board President Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
Board Clerk Seabury Nockbar.
Yes.
Board Member Sarah Hines.
Yes.
Board Member Anne-Marie Rosen.
Yes.
Board Member Carl Palestrini.
Yes.
Moving on to agenda item 4A, Title IX quarterly update, July 2024, with the district's Title IX coordinator, Jackie Moran.
All right, so I think we're getting her set up on Zoom, but while that happens, I would like to just refresh everyone's memories that back in the fall of 2023, fall/winter timeframe, probably November timeframe, we reported an update regarding Title IX. And one of the things we committed to doing was providing the board with a quarterly update on the number of reports and the work that is coming in, the work that she's doing, or the number of incidents that are being reported informally or formally, which ones turn into formal complaints, et cetera. So the outreach to our coordinator with regard to the number of incidents. And that's what this report is. This will become routine at some point. This will become so routine, maybe it will go on a information-only item, not even presented unless there's with a presentation. Maybe it'll just be an information-only item unless someone has a question at some point in the future. But for now, we do have our Title IX coordinator who will share the information, and hopefully she's on. Is she on? Nope. Give me a second. Oh, there she is, I guess.
And just to be clear, Sharon, the information that Jackie will be presenting tonight, just for anybody who's viewing or looking into this meeting, the information that Jackie's presenting was attached to the meeting agenda, so everybody had the opportunity to review it beforehand.
Correct. All right, we're ready, Jackie.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Sorry about the technical issues there. I'm not sure, Sharon, I missed a little bit of what you were just saying. So what we're presenting tonight is the quarterly update for July 2024. So this covers, actually, what we included here is all reports that were received by the Title IX office for this academic year. So that includes reports from July 1st, 2023, all the way through June 30th, 2024. Moving forward, we'll be, again, providing them on a quarterly basis with the year-to-date total. The information that's being presented includes all reports of sexual misconduct, which includes sex discrimination, sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating violence, domestic violence, and stalking, as defined by both Title IX and California state law. And just to remind everyone, when we talk about reports, we're talking about notices that an incident of sexual misconduct may have occurred. So this is different than a formal complaint, which is an actual document signed by a complainant or by the Title IX coordinator. where that individual asked the district to initiate a resolution process, meaning either an informal resolution or an investigation. The numbers that we're reporting might include multiple reports of the same incident. So let's say, for instance, I receive a report from both a teacher and a site level administrator. That will likely be counted as two different reports, even though it's regarding the same incident. And whether or not, regardless of whether or not an incident actually meets the definition of sexual harassment, we're going to document that as a report of sexual misconduct, with a couple of exceptions, which I'll note below. So the chart that we presented here includes, it's 27 reports of sexual misconduct were received by the Title IX office from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. All 27 of those were resolved, and that includes one formal complaint that was received, which was also resolved. You'll note that I did include an asterisk here that we excluded from this total count 3 reports that could not reasonably be considered sexual misconduct. Sometimes a report winds up with the Title IX office when that's not actually the place where it belongs. It's a report that has nothing to do with sex-based discrimination or harassment. So I do log those so that we can track to see if there's better information that we can be sending to folks about what should come to the Title IX office. But I did want to just make a note that technically 30 incidents were reported, but 3 of those would not reasonably have been able to be considered sex discrimination or sex-based harassment.
Jackie, can you please speak to our documents were published on Sunday?
Oh,
and
yes.
can
Okay.
you
Sorry.
speak
I
to
was
that?
looking at my document. I'm sorry. What I had prepared earlier, I miscounted, and I apologize for this. So the original document that was sent to you all says that there were 28 reports of misconduct, and that 1 case is still pending resolution. That 1 case pending resolution actually was reported in July. It was earlier this month, so that shouldn't be counted for last school year. That will be included in the total number for our next quarterly report. So it shouldn't be 28 reports, it really should be 27, and the one that's pending isn't in the time frame that I'm reporting on today. It will be included in the next quarterly update. So I apologize for that error. That was just, I accidentally included July in my initial count, when really we should have ended on June 30th.
Thank you for that explanation, and just for the community to know, we'll go ahead and after make a note in the board item, in the board agenda, and note that during the presentation a correction was provided. And we'll note that for the
And
record.
you'll provide an updated chart.
In the item, yeah.
In
it
the
will be
item. Okay,
corrected.
great.
We're not going to send it out to everyone, but
no.
yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. All right, that's it.
The board did not receive any requests for public comment, so we can open up with board discussion if anybody has any questions or comments.
Last year, it was more like August that we first met you, and you had mentioned that you were going to be working on getting trainings going for people to eventually bring it back in-house. And I noticed that your signature line still says interim Title IX coordinator. So I was wondering, if that was still in the process to be coming back and eventually moving it to back in-house, or if it's going to be staying with you. Are you going to be doing extra trainings, etc.? I know that we have a contract for this year.
I would like to answer that.
Surely.
I mean, because that's our district
Sure.
decision. And with I believe we talked about this when we discussed the contract that at the last meeting. And our decision is to continue to use outside support based on a variety of different reasons. But one of them is connected to the changes in Title IX and the expertise that an outside organization has that focuses solely on Title IX and discrimination in general, not just Title IX, but Title IX and other categories of discrimination. They have that area of expertise. And with the rules changing and the way it impacts us, it's really important to have people who who have that level of expertise supporting us, especially as we're trying to figure out, as you even heard, like what are the patterns and trends of what's being reported so we can do a better job about updating our training based on that kind of information. And there is training required. We've completed the training that's required. We did above and beyond, as we've said a number of times. We start over again every year. It's an annual training requirement, and we will continue to do that. And part of the annual training requirement is now actually one of the changes that is included for everybody, not just districts who are interested in doing it annually, but it is a requirement now of the statute that everyone get trained. So we will be doing training based on the changes that go into effect in August. Okay. And we will continue to develop materials, and we kind of had to come to a halt on some of the stuff we were developing because it wasn't based on the new stuff, it was based on the old stuff. So yeah, this year we will be continuing our efforts to improve in that category. Okay. It's iterative and continuous.
All right, thank you.
Jackie, I'd like to ask a question. That conversion ratio from reports received of 27 or 28 to 2 formal complaints filed, is that kind of a typical conversion rate? And how do we stack up against similar districts?
So
I know last time I asked and you said you hadn't seen a trend yet, so I was just kind of curious if there was a trend forming or just kind of see. And I know there's probably hundreds of variables that you might not be able to answer that question, but if there's any insight you can give, that would be nice.
So I can't offer a comparison to other districts, but what I can say is in my experience, really in any school, this is normal. It's essentially, it looks sort of like a funnel when we look at the numbers. There's a vast number of reports, and as we get further down the line towards a formal complaint and a formal process, the numbers drop off drastically. I think that's very normal, and I think it's actually good because a lot of the cases are, or I say cases, a lot of the reports get resolved very easily without a formal complaint being filed. Oftentimes people don't want to file the complaint. So I think that is very normal to see a large number of reports compared to a much smaller number of formal complaints. I will note this is something that might change with the 2024 regulations because my update a couple months from now is going to look different because the requirement that a person sign a formal complaint form in order to initiate an investigation is changing. That is not part of the 2024 regulations. So this is the chart and everything will look a little bit different based on the 2024 regulations, and we might see a difference in the numbers also.
So you're saying that could attribute to a spike if we see that when that change comes in, that maybe more people file is kind of your intuition?
I don't anticipate a spike. I do anticipate potentially a difference in the number of reports because the definition of what could be sex-based harassment is going to be broader than what it is currently.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? And that was an informational
Hi,
item.
this is.
Let's see, Barry, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm interjecting and I don't know if I'm talking over someone, so I apologize. I was hoping that maybe Sharon could give us a quick update on the website and the, I know you were trying to make it a little bit smoother and easier to navigate, and also you're working on that form. So if you could provide a quick update on that, that would be great.
Sure. So we were working on having a form that folks could fill out that's available online. Just trying to think about how kids function these days and their connectivity to devices and making it as barrier-free as possible for someone to report something. So we had developed a form, and again, we actually, Jackie and I just talked about this last week about when can we get that up and running online, and because we had it developed and we talked about the form and whether or not it needs to be revised based on the release of the new regulations. So I think we'll probably be able to have it up and running by the time school starts, to be totally honest. I don't want to commit 100%, but we're in the process of looking at that, and I think we might be able to have that available on our website. So that is a possibility. for another way to file a report. And then in terms of the website, we changed over to a new provider for our website, and we have a website that's being built out. In fact, there's training going on as part of the returning to school for our site-based administrators and support staff around how to update the website and how to use the new website, et cetera. But the new website is launched, and it's got some Title IX and along with other complaint kind of requirements there. And we're working on updating the language on those pages to make it more clear. And also, again, we'll have that new regulation language in it. However, I will say the California School Boards Association, which develops the boilerplate language for, I don't know a district that doesn't use them. So the districts in California, I reached out to them because we have not yet gotten an update with a new suggested boilerplate board policy or administrative regulation related to the changes. And they indicated to me that it would be coming out in their July update, which is we still haven't received it. So I'm a little concerned about that because it's the turnaround time. It takes time to turn stuff around, and we would have to bring it to the board and approve it, et cetera. But that will happen once we have that information. So that's where we are.
Just a quick
Thanks,
follow
Sharon.
on.
Sure.
Sorry. Quick follow up. So how easy will that form be to find on the website? In other words, where will it be? You know.
Well, we're required to have a non-discrimination link on our homepage.
Okay.
And so if
it's
you
a
click on the non-discrimination link,
okay. Keep going.
it will give you information. There's any number of ways we can make it even simpler, but that's one. There'll be multiple ways.
I'm just looking for ease of
Yep.
use. That's kind of what
It will.
Yeah.
I think right now, I didn't bring my computer, so I can't look it up, but I think it's right now under quick links even. So we do have it in a variety of places for people to access it, but it is a requirement for every school district to have a non-discrimination button on their homepage, which will then take you to any number of other different ways to file a complaint
So on
of
this-
every kind.
Well, on the website, when will it be live and complete, the new one?
The website is live.
And is it completely the way we want it?
Well, it changes
Well, other
daily
than-
because we're updating all the different links.
So other than updates and links, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
guess.
I'm
Yeah.
I
I don't-
mean, I mean, our school sites have some work to do because they've been away for summer and they
That's-
have to
yeah.
update their pages.
Yes, that's what
But
I'm
in terms
asking.
of the district site, that's up, and we're working on it constantly as we see what needs to be corrected or fixed or changed or added to. It is not unusual when you change over an entire website. It takes.
No, I
That's
get
why
that.
there's the pop-up window that says, "Please be patient with us," and we're working on it because stuff we might think we put something on there, and it might break those
Oh, yeah.
links and things like that.
That's understood.
Yeah.
As far as the sites are concerned, when do you think they'll have theirs?
I think we're getting off topic. This is
Are we?
This is a Title IX
Okay.
item, and we're talking
Fair
about
enough.
website. Go ahead, Emery.
Sorry about this, Jackie. I have one more question that popped into my head. In terms of your reports, just your regular reports, do you go through the process of, speaking with the victim or just, the person who reported it and then make your assessment based on that, or just looking at how it's worded? Just looking at, the verbiage coming in at you.
Sure. So I will say it depends. Actually, I'm going to backtrack real quick just on that prior question, and then I'll get to your question. Because I am sitting at my computer, so I was able to go onto the website very easily. There is now a link. Not only is there a non-discrimination notice link on the front page of the website, there's also a Title IX link. So it's right next to non-discrimination, brings you straight to the page with information about Title IX, and that is one of the places where we're going to be putting a link to that reporting form. So from the front page of the website, it will be one click to get to the Title IX information. And to reiterate,
what was said before, the goal is to make this easy to find. So that is something that as we're going through, we're going to make sure the information is really very accessible.
Thank you for that.
So, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I said thank you for that. That's what I was
Sure.
asking, essentially.
And in terms of the reports, it really depends on how the report comes into me. I never make an assessment just based on what somebody wrote, because there's always more information than that. Oftentimes, if I get a report if the report comes in through a teacher or an administrator, I'm going to talk to them. A lot of times the legwork has been done in terms of that initial outreach and giving the potential complainant information about their rights under Title IX and assessing whether supportive measures are needed. So sometimes that piece has already been done, and folks say they don't want to file a complaint. In some situations, I might follow up with an email, but that's not something I will always do, depending on the information that's shared with me. But there's always a follow-up conversation to make sure I'm getting as much information as I can about what happened.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
If there's no other questions, we can close out that item. It was information only and no action is required. Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Agenda item 4B, OCR resolution with Superintendent Sharon Ofek.
All right. Thank you so much for letting me kick this off. This is a very important item. And before I even talk about the item, I think it's really important to say very clearly that any type of discrimination, harassment, bullying, any type of incident like that is something that we take seriously and that we need to always have on our minds in terms of how that impacts our learning environments and our students' experiences and our staff's experiences. So as we enter into this conversation, I just want to be really clear that that is a concern and a problem that every district, in my opinion, and every employee should be working towards making sure we don't have issues around these types of things. And that's why we do training, and that's why we talk about it, and that's why we have updates, like I said, annually with the training. So this particular item is, just to give the timeline a bit, it predates me. There was a complaint filed by a community member with the Office of Civil Rights, I believe in December of 2021. The Office of Civil Rights sent a letter to the district, I believe on March 11th of 2022, sharing that information, indicating that a complaint was filed with 2 allegations. Those allegations are written in the body of the item, but are alleging discrimination for students and the person filing the complaint based on what the statute says for Title VI, which is connected to the civil rights agreements in our country and rights in our country for civil rights around Jewish ancestry. What they call shared ancestry is the phrase they use in the actual language, but shared Jewish ancestry. So the Office of Civil Rights engaged with the district when they received the complaint. They wrote that letter. In the letter, they indicated that they would open an investigation. Again, all this predates me. So I'm going off of information that I have been able to locate. It appears that the district obviously was working with the Office of Civil Rights. However, after, I guess, nearly a 2-year hiatus, because I don't think that much was heard from the Office of Civil Rights since the end of the school year in 2021-2022 school year, they reached out again to the district and asked for more information, in which case we provided that information, and they found one of the allegations not to be substantiated, but based on their findings, they strongly encouraged the district and proposed entering into a resolution agreement based on the concerns that they identified in what they reviewed in relation to the Title VI statutes of discrimination against, specifically in this instance, shared Jewish ancestry for students. So that is what this is that that is posted on our board item, and what we will talk about this evening, and that we will, you will discuss and make a decision as to whether you want to engage in this or not. The item is really around, there are 10 sections, and it is really around reviewing the incidents, looking at the information very clearly, and providing documentation for each step of the way back to the Office of Civil Rights. So it's a very back and forth document in terms of the oversight that the Office of Civil Rights will have with the district in this case for 2 years, which is what's proposed, the 23-24 school year and 24-25 school year. The 10 parts are, like I said, starting with the review of all of the incidents that they had concerns around, or that were reported that they identified as concerning, working on the reporting process that exists in the district, and making sure that that's clear, looking at all of our harassment policies and procedures and making sure we review them and revise them as needed based on, again, consultation with the Office of Civil Rights. Disseminating those revised policies is part of that. So once they review them and look at them, and if revisions are made, we distribute them. The third section is around written guidance. So that's making sure that folks know how to report incidents that they may experience. And basically a commitment, like I just said, to a harassment-free learning experience and environment at school. The fourth part is around record keeping. And making sure that we are doing a good job with record keeping, and including reviewing forms for how reports are made. It's a little bit like what we did with Title IX without an OCR agreement, to be honest. Like, let's review all of our practices and policies. Let's look at all of our forms. Only this is going to have oversight from the Office of Civil Rights. The fifth part is reviewing that notice of non-discrimination to make sure we have all the pieces that we need in it. And I'm going at a very high level overview because all of the details were posted on the board item, and people can see what that involves. And again, once we have that non-discrimination policy reviewed and revised and approved by them, then the dissemination of that policy. There's a sixth category for climate surveys. And again, we already do some surveys, so to be determined in the future, I guess, is whether we, the current surveys we use will suffice, or whether we will bring on a new survey platform or create a new survey, et cetera. So that will happen with consultation with the Office of Civil Rights as well, and then analysis of that and revisions based on any information or data gathered during that time frame. And then training. The seventh part is training for our site administrators and all of our staff around all of this information, making sure they know where what this all is about, what they can do to support a harassment-free environment, how to report, how to make reports, and how to work with students, et cetera. So that is a requirement in item 7. In item 8 is training for school staff, which is around administrators knowing how to look into incidents that do get reported. So not only do we have to say everyone needs to know how to report something, but then we need to make sure our people know what to do when something is reported. And so that's training for our administrators that is included in that. And then I think I was on 8. On 9 is making sure our students and parents have the knowledge as well, dissemination of that information. So basically, incorporating it into presentation. So, for example, I imagine that would include when our administrators go into classrooms and have expectations conversations at the start of the year or at the start of the second semester or things of that nature. And this would be one of the items that they would incorporate into that presentation. It doesn't necessarily, as I understand it, have to be a standalone presentation. But that is where item 9 comes into play. With it would be for students and also for parents during presentations for parents. We would potentially include that as well. And then the district will have to provide all of this information to OCR or the Office of Civil Rights, which we all call OCR, for, like I said, the 24-25 and 25-26 school year. And that section is section 10, and they're calling it audits for the school years because they'll review all of our information that we submit to them. So those are the 10 parts. It's quite a bit of work, and there's a rigid timeline connected to each item, and that's where we stand with the Office of Civil Rights and their interest in having us enter into this agreement. That's it.
The board received no request for public comment on item 4B, so now we'll open it up for board discussion. If anybody has any questions or comments. Seabury, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't, thank you.
Thank you. If nobody has anything else to say, may I receive a motion to approve?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the proposed resolution agreement with the United States Department of Education, Office of Civil Rights regarding case number 09-22-1158.
Second that.
Board Member Carl Palestrini,
Yes.
Board Clerk Seabury Nockbar,
Yes.
Board President Jason Remenzi,
Yes.
Board Member Anne Marie Rosen,
Yes.
Board Member Sarah Hines.
Yes, and I just like to, on that agenda item, Sharon, I'd like to thank you for all your hard work on that. The timeline is intense, and I understand that it will be a tremendous undertaking to meet that timeline and all those deliverables. So thank you to you and everybody else who will be involved in making that happen.
Thank you.
On to agenda item 4C, Memorandum of Understanding, excess vacation balance between CUSD and CSEA, and it's Chapter 190 with Chief Human Resources Officer Craig Chavez.
So, good evening. Previously, in our CSEA contract, the vacation balances that were earned by individuals were not allowed to be used for a period of 1 year. That was in conflict, actually, with the language in the contract, and so we worked together to rectify that particular issue in our last set of negotiations. And that was also in line with individuals receiving changes from one step to another, from 1 year to another, all on July 1st. That did cause a little bit of a challenge in that those vacation balances that were earned previously, we had to catch them up. And so we had a situation in which a number of our 12-month employees who earned vacation were granted those balances they had earned in addition to the balances that they had from that year, and so we had excess. So this MOU was to address the situation at the end of the year for those individuals, of which there were 12, who had excess vacation balances beyond what was already in the contract language. The current contract language and the ongoing contract language allows an individual to carry over up to 80 hours of vacation balance, which is 2 weeks. And if there is an excess over those 80 hours, they may be paid out if there's an agreement up to additional 80 hours. These balances, or the excess vacation balance, goes beyond those 160 hours that are already accounted for in the contract, and the MOU allows us to address that in a way that the district does not carry fiscal liability forward. We don't want to do that from 1 year to the next, but also provided the employees an opportunity to use that time because it was earned. So if there are any questions.
The board did not receive any public comment requests for agenda item 4C, so now we'll open it up for board discussion.
Nice to see that it's getting cleared up, and hopefully the language will keep it cleared up. for the future. Fingers crossed.
If there's no further questions, may I receive a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the MOU excess vacation balance between CUSD, CSCA, and its Chapter 190.
Second that.
Board Clerk Seabury Nockbar,
Yes.
Board President Jason Remenzi,
Yes.
Board Member Sarah Hines,
Yes.
Board Member Anne Marie Rosen,
Yes.
Board Member Carl Palestrini.
Yes.
Agenda item 4D, classified confidential salary schedule for 2023 and 2024 and 2024 and 2025 school years related to classification and compensation study with Chief Human Resource Officer Craig Chavez.
So as you remember from last month, I did bring a request for approval, and you approved a reclassification and compensation study for our classified bargaining unit. Associated to that group of individuals are our classified confidential individuals, of which there are 4. I won't get into the definition of confidential because it is different than what the public believes it to be. However, this is to maintain alignment with those positions and our classified positions that are in our organization to make sure that everything stays in alignment. We did look at our comparable districts, which are listed in the item, as you can see there. And the recommendation is based on the same rules and procedures that we used for our classified employees around when retroactive amounts would be and when those moving forward. So all of those are remaining in alignment as well. So this is to approve and recommend those changes for this group.
And the board did not receive public comment requests for item 4D. We'll move on to board discussion if anybody has any questions or comments.
And just a quick thought on confidential description is not what the public perceives it to be versus what it is. That's a little cryptic. You know, how about a nickel's worth on that one?
I'll give you a nickel's worth. So confidential in kind of layman's terms means that we keep things private or close to us in terms of that information, and it's not shared out. Confidential in terms of our work as a classified confidential are those individuals who provide direct support to the negotiations process, and as a result, they cannot be in a bargaining unit because it would be a conflict of interest. Does that help?
It does. It explains it. Thank you.
If there are no additional comments, may I receive a motion to approve?
I just had one comment, and happy to make a motion. But Craig, I want to thank you again for all of your hard work on all of the salary schedules, and this rounds out, right? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So again, thank you very much. I know it's been a long project, so I appreciate, and I think as a board, we appreciate all the legwork and research and information that you've put together for us to understand exactly how you've approached this process, how we've gotten from, where we have been to where we are now. So thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
And with that, I'll make
And
a
from across the country, I totally agree.
Thank you from Maine.
All right, so thank you, Seabury. I'll make a motion to approve the classified confidential salary schedules as presented tonight.
Second.
Board Member Sarah Hines,
Yes.
Board President Jason Remenzi,
Yes.
Board Member Carl Palestrini,
Yes.
Board Member Anne Marie Rosen,
Yes.
Board Clerk Seabury Nockbar.
Yes.
Agenda item 4E, emergency action authorizing reconstruction of school facilities with Chief Operations Officer Dan Paul.
This item extends the emergency action for Apple Pie Preschool. The building's on site, the contractor's working on it. We need to continue the emergency action until the last payment is made for any contract on the site. So I anticipate it going a couple more board meetings. We did lose a little time on the project with some issues between the portable manufacturer's plans and DSA approval. So it looks like we will not make the first day of school, but I have talked to the administrators involved and we have a game plan. We won't miss it by much, but the move in to get the site set up or building set up will take us into the school year.
The board did not receive public comments for item 4E. We can open it up for board discussion if anybody has any questions or comments. If there's no questions or comments, may I receive a motion?
I'll make a motion I move to approve the continuance of the emergency action authorization.
I'll second.
Board Member Carl Palestrini,
Yes.
Board Clerk Seabury Nockbar,
Yes.
Board Member Anne Marie Rosen,
Yes.
Board President Jason Remenzi,
Yes.
Board Member Sarah Hines.
Yes.
Yes, moving on to agenda item 5, public comment on non-agendized items. Members of the public may address the board regarding items or topics within the board's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda at this time. And we'll start with number 1, Phil.
Good evening. I'm a district community member and a parent. There was a recent Carmel Pinecone article entitled Parents Raise Alarm About PGUSD Sex Ed Lessons. I have seen the district's sex ed curriculum called Teen Talk by Health Connected. While Teen Talk is somewhat more moderate in comparison to the Planned Parenthood material, both programs are way too enthusiastic about recreational sex. It's almost as if, in order to prevent unwanted pregnancy, these programs are hyper-focused on oral, anal, masturbation, and kink. While certain portions of the Teen Talk curriculum are helpful and educational in nature, and other portions encourage our kids to be kind of sexual explorers. From the Teen Talk curriculum description, quote, research confirms that sexual pleasure, sexual self-esteem, and sexual satisfaction are positively associated with all aspects of physical and mental health, unquote. How is this appropriate for our 8th graders and 9th graders? Why does Teen Talk contain multiple links to websites with information such as experimenting with cucumbers or electrical toothbrushes for pleasure, May is Masturbation Month, and info on rim jobs? Why is there an article about DIY mini floggers you can make out of rubber bands or DIY restraining items like nylon rope in order to tie up your partner? Apparently, quote, spicy and safe can and should coexist, unquote. Why is there a link to a website where students can purchase a variety of sex toys and BDSM accessories like harnesses and butt plugs? There's even a link that mocks abstinence until marriage as fear-based and negative. After the Pinecone article was published, I sent you all an email, and since then, district staff have met with me and other parents to discuss this issue. One idea we discussed is to ask Health Connected, why are these links in their curriculum, which the district pays for? Another idea is to ask the state of California. Apparently, they approve the curriculum vendors under the California Healthy Youth Act. Surely they are aware of the contents and links in these programs. Finally, it is not fair to ask staff to make these inquiries. Curriculum is ultimately a board responsibility, and as such, the board should respond. While the topic is awkward and uncomfortable, the parents and grandparents in PG were courageous enough to say something. As a parent, I also take responsibility for what is taught to my child. I know many community parents feel the same. Let us know how we can support you in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next item is item 6, informal report from superintendent.
I don't have anything this month, thank you.
Moving on to item 7, board operations. These are routine status updates regarding campus activities, meeting schedules, conferences, and meetings attended, and recent developments from the Board of Education. We'll start at the end with Carl and work our way back this way. Board report, Carl?
Nothing really to add. I will be out at Kashawa on Friday for the end of the summer program. And, you know, big deal for me because so many of the Kashawa families I've been through both at middle and high school, and it's just a lot of fun. That's it.
Hello. I went to the Community Human Services, the 55th year awards luncheon, and one of our own students made a presentation there and how they had used the services and were finding satisfaction with that. And there was very few dry eyes in the house after those presentations. I participated in some scholarship interviews for the Berkeley Leadership and the Berkeley Leadership through their alumni house and through the local club. I went to summer camp, and there's between 65 to 70 kids students that are there on a daily basis. And the temperatures out in Kashawa were ranging in the upper 90s, and myself and another lady were there, and we were making snow cones, and I think it was the most well-received thing that I had ever seen in my entire life, and they were trying to put them on top of their heads and everything else to cool themselves off. So it was lots of fun to see the kids enjoying themselves and really working together. We had a lot of kids that came from the Mid-Valley all the way up to Kashawa just because they wanted to participate in the program. So I wanted to thank Sharon for all the efforts that went into it from us, and I wanted to thank the Friends of Kashawa Center and the Community Fund for Carmel Valley for providing funds for that. I wanted to say that I enjoyed going out to the pool with Sharon, and that I'm hoping that at some point in time in the future that maybe we can kind of make it a regular event when I go out to visit places, that I can go with you and sort of get your insight and ideas about education and where we're going with that particular site, et cetera, et cetera. It was very informative, so thank you very much for that. I wanted to include just for a note that I have asked for ethics and Brown Act trainings that are going to be through CSBA. It's going to be at the Hyatt in September, and it looks like it's going to be really it's going to be well attended. It's for the county, but the pre-programs are going to be for any board members. The Cal cards, I've had quite a few people with the Cal cards asking about them, and I'm sure that I was going to ask if there is some way to put a link so people can find them easier, or some directions for people to be able to get there. And that was it that I had for this week, so I'm going to give you your award so you can put it up. That's all right, I'll come and get you. Well, no, I know that's the problem with the chairs. They don't go down.
There's a bench in my way, but all right, thank you so much. This is for our school district from
You want to turn on your mic?
Services, so if people can see.
I thought we could put it up in our new boardroom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I have mine short and sweet. I will also be attending the Ethics and Brown Act training. I understand it's a requirement for board members, so I am happily attending and look forward to doing that and reporting back out on how it goes. I also would like to just acknowledge one of our long-time existing community partners, the Carmel Youth Center, is finally back up and running after being closed for some time. They are reinvigorating their after-school program, which I know a lot of working families are happy about, because the after-school program at River School fills up quite quickly. And so I'm happy that our community has the youth center back as a resource, and I'm glad that the bus route is back on the schedule. Makes a lot of very happy families. So just happy to have that partnering back with us, and I'm looking forward to hearing what the district puts together with the youth center for next summer's programs, because I know that they would like to be involved in that as well. So just wanted to let our community know that they're back up and running, and they will be opening up their doors and welcoming students for this coming school year.
For this month, the only event that I attended was the Kashawa Summer Camp, and I was there the same day as Anne Marie and another community member, and did watch the kids with the snow cones. There was a lot of sugar that they fed them, and it cooled them off, and I think every kid came back for at least seconds, and I think the community member mentioned that she had bought 80 pounds of ice or something wild like that got turned into snow. So it was nice to see. That program's always great to see. Kaiten runs it really well, relates with the kids. They were playing some kind of capture the flag type ball game on the huge dirt field that's out there, and everything was just great to watch, and the kids were definitely enriched, and I got to see them fed their school lunch, and everything was run like a well-oiled machine out there. And that's all I have to report this month. And Seabury, do you have something to report?
I don't. I just wanted to say that I am very sorry to have missed the Kashawa Summer Camp. I appreciate the updates that we've received via email on how it's going, and just wanted to say thank you to all the staff that is helping to support our kids out there, and all the staff that have worked so hard this summer for summer school. And that's it. Thanks.
Thank you all. Item 8, closed session. Before adjourning to closed session, the board will identify the closed session items and provide an opportunity for public comments on these items. Item 8A, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, subdivision D1, Monterey County Superior Court cases. Case number 23CV0031667. Davy Christine versus Carmel Unified School District. Case number 23CV0032225. Jane Doe versus Carmel Unified School District et al. Case number 23CV004013. Jane Doe versus Carmel Unified School District et al. Item 8B, public employee discipline, dismissal, release pursuant to Government Code 54957, subdivision B1. Item 8C, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, D2, one case. The board will now, we did not receive any requests for public comment. I'm sorry, I misspoke. So we will adjourn to closed session at 6:26 p.m. In closed session under item 8C, the board voted unanimously to approve an agreement with a classified employee under which, in exchange for a payment of $33,479.55, she releases all claims against the district. The board will adjourn this meeting at 9:05 p.m.